Welcome to today's episode, where we delve deep into the intricate web of global economics, geopolitics, and energy security, all intertwined in the unfolding crisis in the Middle East. The International Monetary Fund's recent revision of its 2026 global growth forecast, slashing expectations due to escalating tensions in the region, signals a profound threat to the world economy. This development is a critical reminder of how interconnected our global systems are, where a crisis in one part of the world can ripple through economies across continents. The heart of the current turmoil lies in the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery of global oil trade. Approximately 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow passage. Since March 2026, when Iran, responding to escalating hostilities, closed this chokepoint, we have witnessed what experts deem the largest oil supply disruption in history. This move triggered an immediate spike in oil prices, with Brent crude surging by 10 to 13%, maintaining levels around $80 to $82 per barrel, with projections threatening to reach $100 if the blockade continues. The energy market's volatility underscores the fragility of global supply chains and highlights the tight interdependence of nations dependent on this critical resource. The situation has been further exacerbated by the U.S. Navy's controversial decision to block Iranian ports, an action ordered by President Donald Trump. This has intensified the geopolitical tensions, complicating efforts by European leaders to mediate diplomatic solutions. The complexities of these maneuvers add layers of geopolitical risk to a region already fraught with historical conflict and strategic importance. The international community is on edge, as these developments not only threaten regional stability, but also have far-reaching implications for global economic recovery. This is not just a story about oil prices. It is a narrative about the broader economic consequences that could potentially derail fragile recoveries across the globe. The IMF's downward revision is a stark warning, highlighting the peril of stagflation, a scenario where high inflation collides with stagnant growth. Such conditions could push vulnerable economies into recession, amplifying hardships for billions who rely on affordable fuel and stable food prices. This economic strain is felt acutely in countries where energy costs are a significant part of household and business expenses. Governments worldwide are scrambling to mitigate the impact. For example, Canada has taken measures by pausing its federal gas tax to relieve consumers from the increasing burden at the pump. Meanwhile, New Zealand has dipped into its strategic petroleum reserves and offered tax credits to families. These actions underscore the urgent need for immediate relief, but also highlight the limitations of national policies in addressing a crisis with such a broad scope. The costs of these measures are significant, placing further strain on national budgets, yet they remain stopgaps rather than solutions to the underlying issue of supply instability. The International Energy Agency has characterized the current predicament as the greatest challenge in the history of global energy security. The war's impact reverberates from Asia to Europe, causing acute shortages and disrupting industries reliant on consistent energy supplies. Manufacturing, transportation, and agriculture sectors are particularly vulnerable, as energy is the lifeblood of these activities. Political leaders such as Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney face the challenging task of balancing immediate relief efforts with the long-term fiscal implications. Looking to the future, the stakes are undeniably high. Prolonged disruptions in oil supply could add almost a full percentage point to global inflation, eroding consumer confidence and sparking market volatility. Investors who once sought refuge in risk rallies are now navigating a landscape fraught with uncertainty. Diplomatic breakthroughs are desperately needed, yet remain elusive. While there are ongoing U.S.-Iran negotiations for a second round of ceasefire, these talks are overshadowed by related conflicts in the region, such as Israeli actions in Lebanon. The intricate web of alliances and conflicts in the Middle East presents a formidable barrier to resolution. In the broader context, the current crisis may very well redefine international trade routes and accelerate a global shift towards alternative energy sources. Nations are being forced to reconsider their energy dependencies and strategies, with many looking towards renewable energy as a way to insulate themselves from such geopolitical vulnerabilities. As these dynamics unfold, we may witness significant shifts in international alliances, redefining power balances in a world that is increasingly multipolar and susceptible to instability in the Middle East. In conclusion, the war in the Middle East is more than a regional conflict. It is a global economic and political challenge with far-reaching implications. The story we are watching is one of interconnectedness, where energy security, economic stability, and geopolitical strategies converge. As nations grapple with these challenges, the importance of diplomacy, innovation, and collaboration has never been more crucial. We must remain vigilant and informed as these events continue to evolve, understanding that the decisions made today will shape the world of tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned as we continue to analyze these critical developments.